Hey everybody, this is Black Mirai with the third video in my series of videos about how I have been playing destroyers in the current live test of the Submarine battle mode. In a nutshell, my basic philosophy of how to do this is that I play very conservatively and keep my destroyers alive till the end of the game. And if you want a detailed explanation of why I have decided that that is the way to play, I would suggest you watch the first video in this series, and there should be a link to that up on your screen right now. In a nutshell, the philosophy is simply to just stay alive. The sub-battles have been very frequently turning into subs chasing around battleships and cruisers at the end of the game, and maybe subs fighting subs. Because all the destroyers are gone, all the other ships with anti-sub capabilities are gone, or I mean, even the cruisers that have anti-sub capabilities, they're not as effective at taking out destroyers, taking out submarines, and so it just ends up being subs versus subs and subs versus battleships, and it's kind of a crapshoot. And if you can be the last destroyer alive in the game at that point in time, you really tip the balance in the favor of your team. So that's what I try to do. This game is a pretty good example of how that works. I'm in my Fushun, and you're going to see here that I play very conservatively at the start. I don't really end up doing a whole lot at the start. I don't get very far forward. In fact, at some points I'm one of the furthest back of my team. And nobody commented on it in this game, but I do occasionally get teammates, getting on me for, what the heck am I doing? Because I'm not up front doing things that people think destroyers should normally do. But I just think it's better for me in the long run to be alive at the end of the game. And this game is actually a pretty good example of that.
Smoke generator
and we'll see
started.
Why in a little bit. So I've done what I frequently do here in these sub-battles, is I've pulled in an area that's not too far forward, where I have some islands potentially used for cover. I've used my smoke early, and I'm just going to take some hot shots with my guns at whatever I can shoot at early in the game, mostly trying to focus on their destroyers. And that's kind of all I'm going to do here early. Not going to go forward, not going to go charging out there, where I can get focused. With the new mechanics, the submarines in the game, they can outspot you, and there's a new mechanic where they can spot you when you're in your smoke if they can get close enough to you. Going too far forward in your destroyers early in the game is really dangerous. You can see there's a sub not too far away from me, directly in front there, but I'm not going to go after him right now. Instead, I'm actually going to go the other way, because I don't want him to be out spotting me
Torpedoes to starboard.
and exposing me to fire. And instead, I'm going to just try to get into positions where I can help take out the enemy destroyers.
Enemy destroyer foundered.
Because I think there's a situation where some people might have accused me of stealing that kill from our cruiser. Early in battles, I don't worry about kill stealing. I believe firmly in we all work together to kill enemy ships as fast as we can at this point in the game. And to me, that's good team play. And if it's late in the game and we've got an advantage, and I have the luxury of withholding fire in order to allow a teammate to finish off somebody, I will do that. But early in the game, I think the whole team's goal should just be to kill enemy ships as fast as you can. And if that means that I open up on a ship that's nearly dead and potentially steal somebody, I don't actually consider that kill stealing. To me, that's good team play. If somebody does that to me, takes the kill from me early in the game, I really don't care. I'm happy that we killed the ship as fast as we could. So you can see here, I'm actually pretty far back. I've not allowed myself to get fired upon a whole lot. And their 3 destroyers that came forward are all dead. They've got one left. It's that French destroyer. I think that's a French destroyer. I can't really see on my screen here too good, but he's also been pretty cautious. He's the only wood destroyer they have left. So I did also want to comment on the selection of the videos for this series. And in case anybody is wondering, I did cherry pick the videos for this slightly. Once I decided to make this series of videos, since then I have played 5 submarine battles and destroyers. I picked 4 for this series. The 4 I picked are wins, and the one that I did not was a loss. And I wanted to just talk a little bit about the loss. I didn't add it to this series, but what happened was, you know, the strategy that I apply is predicated on being a destroyer who's alive in the mix at the end when it's turning into subs versus subs and subs sinking battleships. You want to be the destroyer that's left to tip that in balance in your favor at that point. But that's predicated on your subs making it to the end of the game. And what happened in the loss that I'm not showing you is that in the middle part of the game, my friendly subs got really aggressive, and they all managed, you know, they didn't make it to the end of the game. I noticed that was happening. I did adjust my play and become more aggressive myself. I was trying to help keep them alive. But, you know, in the end, they didn't make it, and so my strategy fell apart. And, you know, in the end, it turned into a loss. You know, most of the time, the enemy your friendly subs are careful. Usually, you end up with at least one at the end of the game, and so the strategy that I apply, you know, most of the time it works, or it works out, and you know, but that one game it did not. And if you watch the second game in this series of videos that I posted, you'll see sort of the opposite happen, where the enemy subs got really aggressive in the early part of the game, and so I ended up getting a little aggressive myself and taking the 3 subs out, and so that video is not actually a great example of my strategy, but it is an example of how you know, your subs also getting aggressive too early can be dangerous for your team.
Engine boost activated.
So here you can see it's pretty even in ship count, but we've got more like subs and DDs, and they've got more of the larger capital ships. And we are going to see shortly how having, you know, the destroyers around in this part of the game is important. Their sub is right here. Teammate there is going to try to take him out, and I thought at this point he was going to succeed, but he actually gets killed by the enemy battleship, and I have to turn around. I was getting ready to sail away, and right here my teammate gets killed, so I end up having to turn around. And you can see this is that part of the game I was kind of talking about, where it's subs, one sub on each team, just a few surface ships on each team. And if my destroyer was not still around, like say instead of me we had another cruiser or another battleship left in this game, it would be a crapshoot between, you know, 50-50 between who would win this game. And instead, because I'm here, I will be able to counter their submarine, and I think that really helps to tip the balance of the game in our favor. Well, that guy went really deep there. I think, which is why my depth charges were not quite as effective as they could have been. And so here I have to circle around and make another pass at it. And here he tries to surface, so you can see how I sort of adjust my line of attack. I don't want to get lined up at the back of the ship where I might expose myself to some torpedo fire. And I actually decide to just go ahead and ram him. I think he launched some torps from his front tube right at the end there, but you know, they have an arming range and I was too close. So the torps did nothing, and I think that's the first time I've killed a sub by ramming.
Smoke generator started.
You know, but that's just an example. You do have to watch if the subs are coming to the surface as you're trying to run them down in your destroyer. That's you know, it's a big tell that they're planning to use their torps on you, and so you do want to try to make sure that you approach them at a good angle that minimizes the chance that they're going to be able to take you out with their torpedoes. And so now,
Smoke screen set.
you know, again, I think that right there is why I stay alive to the end of the game. Our sub has largely, you know, has got free reign to do what he needs to do, and that really increases the chances for our team to win at this point. And that, you know, that really there is why I've been doing what I've been doing. Yeah, maybe we could have a bigger advantage at that point if I'm more aggressive early in the game. But I just find like ship count almost doesn't matter at the end of some of these sub battles. It's the ship types that I think are most important, because of the way subs can be nearly invulnerable to surface ships. If you know, even the cruisers with anti-sub capabilities, you know, they're not all that effective at hunting down subs at the end of the game. It's the destroyers that need to do that. So if you want to tip the balance of a game like this at the end, you need a destroyer. So anyways, you know, this is Black Mirai. Hope you enjoyed this video. There will be a total of 4 in this series. This is number 3, so there will be one more coming out. Keep your eye open for it. Post comments if you... I'm especially curious if anybody has any dissenting opinions about the way I do this. You know, I by no means claim to be a good player. I'm just a guy who likes World of Warships. This is how I've been playing because it seems to be working for me. So anyways, be cool, and I will see you around.